everyone. Welcome to the American Sports Connection. I am your host, the one and only Joey Railroads. I'm here with my buddy Jason. How's it going, dude?
Pretty good. Ready to do some podcasting in this podcasting weather.
Yeah, it really is with this crazy, rainy, yucky weather.
Yeah, it's like a fall day outside. That's the best way to explain it. Like a fall, rainy, windy day.
Yeah, I would agree with that. For everyone that's trying to catch us on social media, you can reach us at facebook.com/American Sports Connection. Or if you want to check us out on Twitter, it is at AM Sports Con, CON Pod, POD. And if you want to get in touch with Jason on Twitter, you can catch him at A Geek of Nature, all one word.
You can tweeter me there.
There you
go. Tweet, I don't know.
And Lance just jokingly put in the chat, all hail President Trump as our world overlord, LOL.
Jesus.
I have no comment. So we're going to get into the NFL from this past week. What did you think of the games, dude?
I'm not going to lie. I didn't watch a whole lot of football this Sunday, being that I was away, but we got the, I hate to beat a dead horse every week, but we got the bad officiating again.
Yeah,
especially in the Monday night game. Yep, Monday night was maybe the worst officiated game right before halftime that I've seen all season.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And it might have cost the Bills a game.
Yeah, I think it probably did cost them a game. Well, I mean, if you look at it point-wise, it definitely cost them a game. If their kicker would have made a field goal at the end of the game that they could have set up and attempted, They would have won the game if they had the extra 3. But I guess we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah, we'll get into that. All right, yeah. To start off last week, we had the Thursday night game with Atlanta and Tampa Bay.
Yeah, man, Atlanta looks good, man. Like, they're Ryan and Julio Jones right now, I think, may be the best receiver quarterback combo in the NFL, just as a statistical standpoint. But Atlanta looks good. Like, their defense has not hurt them yet because their offense has been so good. And Tampa is just Tampa. Like, they're they don't have a defense at all.
Little speedy receiver because they have Julio Jones and Sanu, and then they have the little really fast guy. His name is escaping me.
Is it like Gabriel or Hooper?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, Taylor Gabriel, maybe? He's like 5'8". He's tiny.
Yeah, he's a fast guy.
Yeah, he wears number 18 for him. I think that's who you're talking about.
Lance just wrote in the chat, he said he was watching 5 games on Sunday, 2 on television, and 3 on live streams online. At one point, every game, he said, had a penalty at the same time.
Man, that's no surprise. Like, I think, you know how if you watch live television, every channel goes to commercial at the same time? Yes. I think the NFL tells their referees when to throw a flag at the same time.
That's very possible.
Or the referees just constantly throw flags, so it's just a coincidence, you know.
Like you had tweeted Thursday night, another bad Thursday night game.
Yeah, Thursday nights haven't really been the cream of the crop. I mean, they haven't really had a matchup to me that stood out as, very competitive, I guess you would say. Because we thought the New England and
catch your eye.
Yeah, we thought the New England and Houston one was going to end up being competitive, and it just turned into a crap fest, you know?
They just seem to not play well on the big stage.
Yeah, it's just rough.
Yeah, all right. Moving right along, we have the Lions upsetting the Vikings in overtime.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Atlanta won that game 43-28. I forgot to say that. Yeah. And the Detroit game, I don't exactly know if you call it an upset at this point. You picked Detroit to win that game, so they didn't upset you. Yeah, I think at this point I don't think anybody beating Minnesota may be an upset anymore, and it's crazy to say that because just 3 weeks ago they were coming into Philadelphia, the best team in the NFL.
They kind of feel like they're last year's Atlanta Falcons.
It feels that way, and with the offensive line they have, and they don't really have a running game either. Losing Adrian Peterson, I think, is really starting to show because they're almost like they're a very pass-heavy team right now.
And their line's terrible.
And their line is so bad they can't keep Bradford up. They can't keep him upright. So it's just like 3 and out, or a turnover for them. And Detroit took advantage of it. They came back to win that game, and then they Stafford, who I think after like the first couple weeks of the season, he actually may be one of the top 3, 4, or 5 quarterbacks in the NFL this season now.
He's having like a career year.
And how crazy is it that he's doing it without Megatron?
Yeah, because they really don't have any. They're kind of like a collage of receivers.
Yeah, they have like Golden Tate, Andre Roberts, Anquan Bolden, who hasn't done very much at all, but he also has that good tight end, Eric Ebron.
Yes.
And they have a decent running back going. Like Theo Riddick, I liked him when he was at Notre Dame. He's a good running back. And another thing is they've been protecting Stafford pretty well, which is big. They have a great kicker, obviously, Matt Prater.
Yep.
Who just had a little bit of alcohol issues in Denver that got him released, and they took a shot at him, and now he's one of the best in the NFL.
Yeah,
but Detroit's really. Yeah, but going forward, I think that division definitely is wide open now because Minnesota doesn't have a winnable game next week. Well, it's not a guaranteed win, and I don't know who Detroit plays next week.
We'll
see.
Get into that.
Yeah, I don't think they even play next week, so we won't get into that. All right. Yeah, overtime win, 22-16. Detroit wins. Let me just tell you what happened for them to win it real quick. Stafford, the Golden Tate, 28 yards. Great tiptoe on the sideline. Made 3 guys, I think it was, miss him, and runs it in.
Play.
And to tie it, the 58-yard field goal from Prater at the end of regulation tied the game. So that was Detroit coming up big.
It was an exciting game. All right, next we have the Giants surviving against the Eagles.
Let's just skip this game. I'm kidding. Yeah, surviving is a good way to put it. Eagles gave them 14 points in the first, 4 or 5 minutes of the game or something.
2 ugly turnovers.
Yeah, 2 bad interceptions by Wentz that ended up turning into passing touchdowns for Eli Manning. And then I guess kudos to the Eagles defense. It kind of stood up as much as it had to. They didn't allow any points in the fourth quarter.
It's just funny to me because the Eagles defense... Well, and partly Eli Manning having a meltdown at the end of the game, they were right there with a chance to win the game.
Yeah, see, I don't blame their defense for losing the game because they were given a tough hand early, but when you come out early like that, you really wish that they could have kept the Giants off the board with touchdowns at least one of the 2 times, because then it goes from a 14-point game to a 10-point game, possibly a 6-point game if they stand up twice. All of that goes to Carson Wentz. It's on him early, and we'll get into the end of the game. Well, we can get into it right now if you want. A lot of people have been blaming Jordan Matthews for that throw at the end, for that pass that he didn't catch in the end zone. Well, the thing is people got to understand he was running a fade, not a corner route. The ball has to be thrown on the inside of Matthews there.
Exactly.
He can't cross his body and reach back and make that catch. If that ball's on his inside shoulder instead of his back outside, I'm not saying he's going to catch it because he has his issues with drops, but Wentz has to put his receiver in a position to make that play, and his throw did not. He threw a corner route on a fade route.
Right.
And it wasn't Matthews' fault.
Me and you talked about this. I said, the kid's still a rookie. He's going to have moments like this, so you just kind of got to grin and bear it.
Well, here's the thing, man. You have a rookie head coach and a rookie quarterback. If they're 4-4 right now, it's not the end of the world. The Eagles win a couple games, 3 out of 4. They're right back in the playoff chase. Yep. People have to kind of, you can't. I understand Philadelphia the way it is. We're Philadelphia fans. We're from this area, so we have that pressure. Like, we want to see everybody succeed, and if they don't, sometimes we can be highly critical. But we're still on the Wentz wagon. I am, at least. He's a kid. Absolutely. He's 22, 23 years old. He doesn't have the best receivers. His offense has been very vanilla. They probably should have kicked a couple field goals instead of going for it on 4th down earlier in the game. It's going to take time. 8 games is not enough for you to know what he has, what the coach has, and what everybody else with him has,
Exactly.
You go and you look at some rookie quarterbacks and their rookie seasons, there's been absolutely miserable rookies who have turned it around. And there's been great rookies, Bradford being one, who ended up, injuries hurt him, but who ended up becoming average at best. So it's just time. So, 28-23 was the final. The Giants won. Manning did try to give the game back to the Eagles. I think it was Jordan Hicks with the big interception late, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the Eagles defense gave the ball back to the offense with a chance to win the game. So, they did what they had to do.
I agree.
But we'll see. Big win for the Giants, though.
Yeah.
Eagles fall to 0-3 in the division. They're pretty much buried in the division now. But, Dallas at like 8-1 or whatever, 7-1. So, but we'll see.
All right. Moving right along, we have the Dolphins getting to 500 with a win over the Jets.
Yeah, I honestly, I thought the Jets would win this game, but the Dolphins, it's a rivalry game. Miami's at home. The Dolphins, though, you got to give their kick returner, that Kenyon Drake, credit. That big kickoff return wins the football game for them.
Well, and
then their defense stood up.
A really run-heavy team now with that Jay Ajayi, or however you say
Ajayi, yeah, Ajayi. Well, they should, they really should be with him because he is a horse, man. He's having a huge year. Let me just pull up his stats real quick, just for the heck of it. He's got 646 rushing yards. I guess that's not that great when you've had two 200-yard games.
Yeah. But
we'll see. Hey, if you can win it with running and defense, Denver won the Super Bowl last year like that. Yeah. So, but yeah, I don't think this game was very exciting, other than the big kickoff late. It kind of a slow game. Nothing, a lot of field goals in it. I think it was 7 field goals in the game. Yeah. So if you like kicking, that was your big game.
Yeah, that's really all you can really say about that game. So
yeah, 27-23 Miami.
Yeah, next we have the Chiefs with Nick Foles at quarterback beating Jacksonville.
Yeah, Nick Foles was not extremely exciting. He didn't do. He won he did what he had to do to win the game. And if it's a close game, you can bet on Blake Bortles having not a very good game. He is the king of the 100 quarterback rating when his team's getting blown out. And he's just not this team is laying eggs, and I don't understand why their coach hasn't been fired yet. I just don't get it. He's 14 and 42 since taking the job now?
Yeah.
So why is he still there? I guess they're just going to wait till the off season.
Maybe. Yeah, I agree with Lance. He said he thought Jacksonville would be better this season.
I absolutely, we both did. I think, all 3 of us now. We all 3 can agree. I think me and you can agree with what Lance said. I thought Jacksonville would at least maybe go 7-9, maybe flirt with 500, because let's be honest, they're not exactly in the hardest of divisions with Tennessee and the Colts. They're both 4-5. Jacksonville's 2-6. The Texans, you can beat the Texans. It's not like they're anything big and special. They've taken advantage of a bad division.
Pretty much.
But I agree with Lance, though. I thought that Jacksonville would kind of, maybe not turn the corner this year, but get to the corner, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, because they have the talent.
Yeah, they have a lot of talent down there. I think it's time for a head coaching change, and maybe maybe the staff. We'll see, though.
Yeah, they just need to clean house.
Yeah, it was 19-14 the final in that one, and Kansas City 6-2. They move ahead of Denver. Denver went from first to third in a matter of 4 hours.
Yeah. All
yep,
right.
Kansas City 4 wins in a row. By the way, Kansas City. So Andy Reid, he did it last year. He's doing it again. Once that toward that second half starts, an Andy Reid team comes to life.
They always do well in November.
Andy Reid, yep, November and December. After the bye week, Andy Reid becomes a genius, it seems.
Yeah, I hear you there. All right, moving along, we have the Cowboys thumping the Browns.
Yeah, there isn't much to talk about in this game. It was a thumping. Dak Prescott is still looking like the quarterback that I said he would be. I mean, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but, I was a big fan of him coming out of college. Yeah, I don't like where he's playing. But, by the way, the big thing in this game was Dez Bryant only had 1 catch for 19 yards. That was kind of surprising. Maybe if I'm a Cowboys fan, I might be like, well, they did win big. They beat a terrible 0-9 Browns team now. But him and Dez did hook up against the Eagles, and I thought they were going to have a huge week this week. I was like, man, whoever's playing Dez Bryant in fantasy, if you're playing against him, you might be in trouble this week. But it didn't happen.
Lance is saying, he's asking, where do you think Romo might go? To the Jets? Denver?
Denver's not an option because they have Paxton Lynch, and Simeon's good enough right now until Lynch takes over. The Jets, I think the Jets need to just tear that team apart and start over. So Romo, maybe you can bring Romo in as a veteran guy, but I'm trying to think where else, because
it's funny he mentions Romo. He's officially good to go now, I read today.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a place. That's a really good question. A team that I think possibly could take Romo, and you might think this sounds crazy, but the Los Angeles Rams could be a good spot for Romo if they decide that they want to maybe not throw Goff into the fire yet.
Yeah.
But other than there, I can't think of another team because let me look at the list of teams real quick. We can talk about this for a second if you want. Miami is probably Fitzpatrick. They've won 3 in a row. So Buffalo, I think Tyrod Taylor's good enough. I think he keeps losing his best weapon in Sammy Watkins. His running back's been hurt. Baltimore, Flacco. They're Pittsburgh, no. Cincinnati, no. Cleveland, Cleveland will take pretty much any trash they can get. So Houston, no. Indianapolis,
send him
no.
To Cleveland, and then within 3 plays, he'll be hurt.
Yeah. I can't really think of any place, man, to be honest with you. Maybe San Francisco with Chip. Nah. They got Kaepernick. I think Kelly, he's going to be gone after this year. I think Chip and Kaepernick both might be gone.
Yeah.
I don't know. Lance has stumped me on that one.
That's an interesting one, yeah. We'll have to wait.
Yeah.
But like he said, he doesn't think anybody's going to want to pay him what he's making.
No, that's not going to happen.
But we can honestly move on from this because the Browns game, there's not very many things to talk about anyway.
Yeah, I like Lance throwing these questions out, though. It adds some extra analysis into it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, because I don't know. That's a good question. I really don't. I can't think of a spot, man.
No, I can't either. All right. Next, we had the Steelers laying an egg against Baltimore.
Yeah, I was watching a little bit of this game at Buffalo Wild Wings, and the Steelers just looked all out of sorts, man. They could not run the ball, and I think when it comes to the Steelers, it starts with their running game. With those 2 big backs they have, Bell and Williams, and it just didn't happen. And kudos to Baltimore. Baltimore definitely shut them down, big time. And Baltimore's in first place now. How crazy is that? They're 4-4 in first place because they have the win over Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's lost 3 in a row, too.
Yeah, the Ben injury really hurt them.
Yeah, and going forward, I mean, that division's wide open for them. But they, with the Steelers, man, they can kick it into gear tomorrow and ride it. I mean, we've seen it before with them.
And it doesn't matter where they play. They're road warriors. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Especially with the cold coming up, too. They tend to be a team that can win games in the weather because they have that good running game, so they can keep the ball on the ground. I think Pittsburgh's going to be absolutely fine, to be honest with you. I still think they're going to end up being one of the 2 or 3 teams in the AFC to fight the Patriots for it.
Oh, I agree.
But yeah, 4-4, they don't scare me. Baltimore, though, I think Baltimore is the kind of team that's going to fall out of 4-4. Like I think Pittsburgh's still going to end up 10-6. Maybe they might go on a run at 11-5, and I think Baltimore ends up maybe 8-8, 9-7 at the best.
Yeah,
at the absolute best.
They're kind of like rebuilding there.
Does Baltimore go there this year? Do they play at Pittsburgh later this year?
Yeah.
They still have to go to Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to get thumped in that game. And you got to remember, too, Pittsburgh still has Cleveland on their schedule. That's a W and a half.
No, I agree completely with you.
The only thing that really stood out to me in this game, and I don't know if you saw it, but Flacco almost tearing his knee up again on a slide.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
On the damn turf.
Yeah, this game was boring, though, in my opinion. Nothing really...
And Ben looked terrible.
Yeah, I kind of give him, a little pass.
Like a mulligan.
Yeah, I mean, come on. He's going to probably come out. Whoever gets them next, I think, is in trouble again, just like Kansas City was that night against them after we beat them, after the Eagles beat them.
Yeah.
I think the next team to play, Pittsburgh, may be in trouble. And let me see who it is just for the hell of it.
Cowboys.
Oh, good. And it's in Pittsburgh. Oh, great. I love it. All right, there you go.
All right, next we have the Saints beating up on Chip Kelly and the 49ers.
Man, Drew Brees is not human. This guy's a robot. He's a cyborg or something, because week in and week out, it doesn't seem to matter who he has. He will complete passes to 14 different guys, hit guys for big touchdowns, and then Mark Ingram had an enormous day too. They did whatever they wanted to the 49ers. I mean, let's be honest, the Chip Kelly honeymoon never started there, and it's not ever going to start. He's got to go. They have to get rid of Balky there.
I think it's basically now, does he last the season, Yeah,
I think what you do is you let him and the GM or whatever both stay, and then they're gone at the end of the season, and they need to clean that. From top to bottom, I think that franchise needs an enema.
It's
for
just
lack
amazing,
of a better...
though, how within 5 years, how they could be in the Super Bowl, and now they are where they are.
Yeah, I agree. Well, a lot of that has to do with aging players, too.
And injuries.
And injuries, and like you got Crabtree, who they let go, and now he's with Oakland, and he's turned into a great complement receiver to Amari Cooper. Yeah. That's talent they let walk away. Half their team retired. We got to remember that. They lost a lot of guys to retirement. Like they had that great linebacker, that white kid that stepped up, and he has a great year, then he retires after a season.
Yeah.
That's
an interesting point, Lance. He said the guys on Chip Kelly's offense must get headaches because they have to keep looking over to the sideline for every play.
Yeah, Chip Kelly, he's got to go back to college. Well, I think we can agree with that. He's best suited for NCAA football. He cannot treat grown men making millions of dollars the way he does and get anything out of them. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
No,
I agree.
And I think he'll go back to college, and I think he'll be extremely successful again after he gets to recruit again and gets a few more years. I think he's going to be extremely successful in college again. Like I even told you, I'm a Notre Dame fan, and I told you I would be open for Chip Kelly to be Notre Dame's head coach because I know the college game suits him much better than the NFL. I mean, we could go back and look. Nick Saban failed in the NFL. He's maybe the greatest college football coach in history now.
Yep.
Bobby Petrino failed in the NFL. Barry Switzer won a Super Bowl with Dallas, but let's not get that twisted. He won it with Jimmy Johnson's team. He basically failed after that in the NFL. It's night and day, and Chip Kelly is made for college football, and that's where he needs to go. He had his run in the NFL. It doesn't work. So he's obviously not going to make the adjustments he needs to make to stay in the NFL, so he needs to go back to the NCAA and succeed. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, being a successful college coach is a great accomplishment. They're different games. It might be both football, but it's totally different types of football, you know?
I agree. All right, next we have the Panthers beating the Rams in a defensive battle.
Can we just call this a stinker?
Yeah,
because that's what it was. There wasn't nothing really that stood out big in this game either. Really nothing at all. Like, the Rams tried to throw the ball 46 times.
The Panthers winning back-to-back games.
Yeah, not looking so bad now, but I mean, their defense showed up against a team that I wouldn't say is going to blow your doors off offensively, but this might have been the stinker of the week when it comes to the actual quality of the football game.
Yeah.
I think it was, at least, because I think you had other really good games. I don't have much to say about this game, man, other than, the Rams, who started off pretty well, have fallen way down now with 4 straight losses. Carolina's got 2 wins in a row. They're a team that I think could go on a run because they have the talent.
Yes.
You have to be careful with Carolina, I think. Going forward, they have a lot of guys who are talented and are full of pride. And when you have talented pride, they tend to start winning football games.
Lance says, is it time for Jared Goff?
That's a good question. Let me see who they play going forward. They play the Jets next week. The Jets' defense isn't brutal.
I read reports, and you know how you could take it or leave it. They're not going to play golf until they're eliminated.
They're out of it. So if that's the case, I think they need to take a look in the mirror and realize that they're done, because Arizona and Seattle are better than them in that division. And then if you go by the process of elimination right now in the playoffs, they're not going to win the division, so they have to win a wild card. They have Detroit, Green Bay, and Minnesota, who are either going to fight for a division or that wild card. So 2 out of 3 of them are in the wild card picture. You have the Giants and Redskins, who I think are both better than them, because Dallas is going to win the division. Are the Rams better than the Eagles? I don't think so.
No.
But if it comes down to that, you have another team. You have the Saints, who I think would beat the Rams now, especially because the Saints offensively right now are a juggernaut. Carolina and the Rams, they have the same record. Carolina's a better team than them, obviously. They just beat them. But I think Carolina's a much better team. On another Sunday, it could even have been a blowout in Carolina's favor. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I think it's time for Jared Goff. You're 8 games in. He's had half the season to learn. If he's the number 1 overall pick, if you think he's a franchise quarterback, he should be out on the field now playing. You're playing the Jets. You're playing Miami after that. Jets is on the road. It's in North Jersey, New York, whatever you want to call it. I think he should be playing. I think he should have been practicing with the ones. I think they said he actually has been. I think he should be starting for the Rams this week against the Jets. That's my opinion.
No, I agree with you. The thing that amazes me, how Jeff Fisher still has a job.
I don't understand it either, man. I don't understand. I agree with you 100%. Jeff Fisher hasn't done anything impressive in the NFL in a decade.
I can't remember how many more games it is. I want to say 5. If he loses 5 more games, he is the all-time losingest coach in NFL history.
Yeah, and that's not a good thing.
It's just amazing to me. I'm like, how does this guy keep a job?
Yeah, and you're talking about coaches like Rich Kotite had coaching jobs in the NFL. And Jeff Fisher is going to be the losingest coach in NFL. Well, he may. It depends on what happens this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to get another head coaching job somewhere. I mean, it's going to happen.
It's just amazing to me.
I think what it is, and I watched Hard Knocks on HBO. I think it's because he's so good with the players that he keeps his job, because I think the players fight for him.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
Like, I think they fight for him to keep his job, and his staff fights for him to keep his job, because I think he's a really good guy. And they say nice guys finish last in the NFL. I think it's definitely true, but he's made a hell of a living off of losing football games.
Yeah. Well, like Lance just said about Goff, he said the rookie quarterback worked for the Cowboys and the Eagles. Why not throw him out there?
Well, it's worked for the Cowboys because of the offensive line, I think. With the Eagles, Wentz hasn't worked yet for the Eagles. I won't go as far as to saying that, because I think the Eagles won games early in the year with defense and special teams more than Carson Wentz won the football games. I mean, he beat the Bears and he beat the Browns, but they might have been the games he actually won. But, yeah, it's time for your number one overall pick that you traded all that stuff to get to go in there and play, you know?
I agree.
It's time. It's definitely time.
All right, moving along, we have the Colts beating Green Bay in Green Bay.
Pagano probably saving his job, man. And Aaron Rodgers has looked good again. Their defense lost this game for them. No, their defense didn't look too bad. What the hell? I didn't see much of this game.
Luck just basically did what he wanted in this game.
Well, he didn't have a really big game.
Minus the two ugly interceptions he threw in the first quarter.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and I don't know if you'll agree with me, and I'll just ask this. I think we might just be able to agree that Green Bay's just not a very good team anymore.
No.
Well, they're old.
Well,
I mean, you're talking.
You're really starting to hear the clamoring for their head coach, his head.
Yeah, I think it's about time, because he hasn't really won anything in forever.
He's been there a long time.
Yeah, speaking of a guy who's had a job, like you said, Fisher's been around for a while and, different places now. But McCarthy's had that job for a while. Like, he took over for Holmgren, didn't he?
It's been like a decade.
Yeah, Mike McCarthy's had that job for a while. He might be on the chopping block. And you know what? I think he'll end up being a really good coach somewhere else. But I think what's happening is that team, the hourglass is way past half, like the top sand is getting to the bottom of the hourglass on that team, because Rodgers isn't getting any younger. Cobb's not any younger. Jordy Nelson's not any younger. Their defense and their offensive line aren't any younger. They let the Sitton guy go to Chicago, right?
Yeah.
Josh Sitton, they let him walk. I think that time is just catching up to that team, is what's going on in Green Bay.
Yeah, like it's basically their time is kind of past.
Yeah, they're getting a little long in the tooth, I guess you could call it.
Go. I can agree with that, but the
NFL,
it's still wide open for them.
Yeah, and the NFL is not an old man's league anymore. Like, veteran guys don't have as much success that they used to, because the players are so highly trained and so athletic and physical now that it seems like, well, remember when Andy Reid was the head coach of the Eagles, there was always that, like, unwritten rule that when you turned 30, you were gone.
Yep.
He did it with everybody. And the Packers have some guys that are on that other side of 30.
And it's just amazing that almost every guy he dumped, just fell off a cliff.
Yeah, look at Jeremiah Trotter, for instance. He was a Pro Bowler when he left here. He went to Washington. Nothing.
It was just amazing how he could do that. But I agree with you. They need a influx of youth on that roster.
Yeah, and I think they have a really good quarterback with the guy they got out of UCLA last year in the draft behind
Brett
Rodgers.
Hundley.
Yeah, Hundley. I really like him. I think I think he may end up turning into Rodgers. Like Rodgers played behind Favre for a few years,
Yeah.
and he became a great quarterback. I think Hudley has the talent to possibly take that team over from Rodgers maybe in a year or so.
That's a good point, Lance. He said with their running back situation definitely isn't helping them.
Yeah, that is a great point. Yeah, they're very thin at running back. They kind of have their one running back is health wise, like his weight and everything has always been an issue, I guess. Lacey.
I think he's gonna walk.
Yeah, I think they need to, really start addressing some positions in the draft this year. Like they really need to go young in certain positions because they're just to the point to where their time may be up,
Yeah. Well, and
it's starting to look like it.
They don't really sign free agents.
Yeah, well, they got so much money tied into the draft picks,
Yep. But it'll be interesting to see, how things go forward.
Yeah, going forward for them. Yep, I agree. Man, we're taking some time this week.
Yeah, next we have might have been the most exciting, fun game of the week. The Chargers beating up on the Titans.
Yeah, the San Diego Superchargers came back this week, man. They're a team that, like, Melvin Gordon had a monster game, by the way. He had like 261 yards total or something.
Jesus.
Yeah, he had 196 rushing and 65 receiving. Melvin Gordon had a huge game. Their kicker was good. This was an exciting football game. Like, both teams just couldn't stop anything, defensively.
Mariota had 2 really bad turnovers late.
Yeah, I think that's something that when he starts erasing those from his system and from his games, I think that's when he becomes an elite quarterback,
I agree with that.
I think he probably could use a better offensive weapon receiver-wise than what he has.
Way. Like, they're, to me, like one of the surprises. I didn't think they would be like 4-5.
Yeah, I think they're a team too that might be approaching the corner and about to turn it as well. Like I think Tennessee's they have a good running back. I like DeMarco Murray.
And they got the Henry kids, the nice little 1-2 punch.
Yeah, they're looking at possibly being a good team like a year or two down, maybe a year or two down the road. They might start to turn themselves into a contender. As San Diego, I don't believe they're kind of, I think they might be, they're going to need a new quarterback soon, obviously. Rivers is, what is he, 30 years old? Yeah, Rivers is older than me. He's going to be 35 years old next month. He's about done. Melvin Gordon's young. Yeah, they have the running back. Melvin Gordon's only 23, and he showed that he can be a stud. They're in the same boat as the Packers to me. They're almost like mirror images of each other when it comes to the age starting to be an issue. They lost, Manti Te'o, right? Yeah. So that hurts them because I think he's actually was going to start turning into a very good NFL player. Yeah, but they're at the point where they might really need to start addressing some positions in the draft and everything. And them and the Packers, like I said, might be like the mirror image of each other,
Yeah, I agree with that, except Rodgers is a little bit younger.
Yeah, but he's got a lot of miles on him now.
Yeah, I would agree with that, but this was an exciting game.
It was an exciting game. It came pretty much down to the Packers almost coming back at the end with the 2 late touchdown throws from Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers tried to win the football game for them. They just got buried in such a hole, 31-13 early, that they couldn't climb out of it.
Yeah, I agree. All right, dude, we have the Sunday night game, which I thought was very exciting. The Raiders beating down Denver.
Hey, I told you, watch out for those Raiders of the West. They were my pick. That team, man.
I really liked what they were doing when they brought in a extra offensive lineman and were basically just running it down their throat.
Yeah, and we gotta kind of give Denver a little bit of a pass. They're like Lance pointed out earlier with Green Bay. Denver's running game right now is depleted as well. Like they don't really have, in my opinion, a number one running back with C.J. Anderson being out.
Yeah, and then the Booker kid, he was good for a little bit, and then he's kind of like tailed off.
Yeah, I mean he's still young too. Oakland though, man, I told you before the season, like Oakland, they can beat you in the air, and if you think you shut their air game down, they can beat you on the ground too. Like Latavius Murray had 3 touchdowns in this game. He was a beast in this game, man. Oakland, because they have Carr's young and he's like on the verge of being a stud. Amari Cooper is going to be, if he isn't already, one of the best receivers in the NFL. Latavius Murray, they have a 3-headed monster there right now going forward, to where if they can build that team around those 3 guys, if they can bring in enough talent around them, I think Oakland might be the Chicago Cubs of the NFL, if you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah,
they're building a team.
A long run.
Yeah, they're starting to get there, man. I really like the Oakland Raiders like right now, because they have Bruce Irvin, who is relatively young, still 27, 28. I like the Oakland Raiders, man. I think in the offseason, they need to go out and possibly try to get like a Joe Hayden from the Browns, and maybe like Thomas, the big lineman too. Like maybe they can swing a big deal and they can add 2 big pieces to their team. I think the Raiders are getting close, man, to being a contender out there. Like you might see a big AFC Championship game or whatever, playoff game this year again, where it's New England against the Raiders again. Like remember the Tuck Rule game?
Yeah.
It might be back to that. Like the Raiders are a team I'm putting in there right now with New England, Pittsburgh. You can't count Denver out because of their defense. I'm putting those teams in there, but Oakland really impressed me on Sunday night.
Yeah, I saw. With that.
I saw.
They kind of just mauled Denver. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they played the kind of game, man, where they beat Denver at their game, running the football and playing some defense. And kudos to Oakland, and going forward, I mean, they're looking. And you know what really sucks though is I love them, but I picked Denver to win the football game. I just didn't know if they were ready to beat Denver's defense yet, but they proved me wrong
because they really haven't played well at home.
Yeah, well, that got erased.
Yeah, you better believe it. All right,
when you're 7-2, yeah.
Yeah, all right. And the last game of the week, Monday night, Seattle kind of slides by with a gift from the referees against the Bills.
Ugh. That's all I can say about this game is ugh. I'm sick of talking about referees, man. It's every week. And, the guy I will give a big shout out to in this game was I thought Tyrod Taylor looked great against that defense. I thought a couple in that game, that one play where he scrambled and hit that guy on the sideline toward the end it reminded me of an old, young Donovan McNabb,
I'm really impressed with him. Like, he's really turned out to be a good quarterback.
If they can keep him, like, if Sammy Watkins could stay healthy with Robert Woods and LaShawn McCoy on that team, and they have a decent tight end with Clay, I think they could really be a threat. Percy Harvin did just come out of retirement, so who knows? With him and Woods, you never know. I don't know what Harvin has left. The time off probably helped him physically heal up. Buffalo right now is the kind of team where I think they're not out of. They're 4-5, but they could rip off a few wins here and there. Like they technically should have won that game Monday night, but whatever happened. But going forward, I kind of like Buffalo, Like, they kind of dug themselves out. Everybody was down on them starting the year terrible. But we'll see. Like, I like Tyrod Taylor. I think he has the talent to win. I don't know if he has the talent to win at all, but, we'll see.
I agree. All right, before we make our picks...
Well, I think we got to address the penalty, right? We really have to.
Yeah.
Sherman at the half, jumping 10 yards off sides, nailing the kicker, and there's no flag for unnecessary roughness.
And he could have really hurt him because he hit him like right in his like shin.
Yeah, and what's bad about it is if the flag's thrown, Carpenter, they don't have to spike the ball and take the penalty. Plus, you're 15 yards closer to the field goal. Carpenter doesn't have to come off the play because if there's a roughing penalty on him, the timeout negates him leaving the field. You know what I mean?
Yes. They
had to spike the ball real quick. They took the penalty on that, and then he comes out and he misses the field goal because he's hurt, because of the hit. That, an illegal hit, unnecessary roughness, basically might have cost Buffalo a football game. And it's disgusting. The officiating is just so bad. And one other thing I want to point out is, who was it? Was it Kyle Rudolph threw his flag at the official Sunday?
No, it was Travis Kelce.
Travis Kelce, the Kansas City game, threw his flag at the official after he got flagged for the unsportsmanlike for yelling at him.
Funny.
It was hilarious, and he got ejected from the game. I was like, man, if as a fan, if there's one thing that sums up our frustration and what we would love to do to the officials this season, Travis Kelce did it. But all right, we can go now. I just wanted to. I just remembered that.
Yeah, that's it. Lance said, and this is interesting. He said, "I've always said for years they need one more challenge play for bad referee calls."
I think I agree with Lance. I think what they need is the officials need a supervisor on site or on that they can contact that can get that call right. If you know what I mean.
Yes.
So yeah, Lance is right.
All right, now before we make our picks, how did we do last week?
You lost 5 games. I lost 7 because I decided I wanted to take a couple risk and lost them, such as Tampa Bay on Thursday night. I don't know why. I must have been. I don't know. I haven't had any alcohol, so I can't use that as an excuse. Yeah, I lost Tampa. You won Atlanta on that game, obviously. We both lost the Eagles. I lost the Jets against Miami. I lost Minnesota against Detroit. Kudos to you for picking Detroit in that upset. We both lost Pittsburgh. We both lost Green Bay. You lost Tennessee over San Diego. And we both lost Denver. You had 5, I had 7. So on the season, that puts you ahead by 2 now because I think last week tied us. So
yeah.
You have 2 less losses now than I do. So
okay.
This week I have the games ready. Are you ready to pick them?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, here we go. The easiest game of the week to pick. Cleveland at Baltimore.
I'll take Baltimore, and that's all we need to know.
Okay, Atlanta at Philadelphia.
I'm taking Atlanta just because their offense is just really humming, and I don't know if the Eagles' defense can stop them.
Yeah, good enough for me. I agree with it. You pretty much summed up what I was going to say. Green Bay at Tennessee.
Ooh. I'll take Green Bay just because they'll probably figure it out enough. I don't think Tennessee's ready to beat them.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you on that one. Here's a good game. Denver at New Orleans.
I'm actually going to take the Saints because the quarterback play for Denver has not been so great the last few weeks, and I think it'll basically wear their defense out because the Saints can basically put up points on anybody.
Yeah, see, I'm going to take Denver, and I'm going to say that their defense steps up this week after what happened against Oakland, and I think they really could use a win because they can't afford to lose again and have Oakland get that because I think Oakland's off this week, so they can't afford to have that half a game.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm going to take Denver. You got New Orleans. That's a separation pick for us there. All right, Los Angeles at the Jets.
Oh man. I'll go with the Jets at home.
I took them too because they're at home. I think they need a bounce back win. Nothing else really I can say there. Chicago at Tampa Bay.
I will go Tampa Bay. I'm
going to take Chicago. I'm kind of waiting for Chicago to start playing better football. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to take them this week. And yeah, I mean, they beat Minnesota. And yeah, I'm going to take Chicago though. All right, Minnesota at Washington.
Ooh. I'm going to take Minnesota just because I don't think the Redskins really have that great of a pass rush.
Kerrigan, dude. I'm taking Minnesota, but I think Minnesota really needs a win.
Yeah,
really needs a win. All right, here. I think this could turn into a really good game. Kansas City at Carolina.
I'm going to take Carolina because they seem to have kind of figured it out, and they really need this game.
Yeah, I agree. I'm taking them for the exact reasons you just said. I think they're going to start turning it around and possibly pulling right back into that division. All right, Houston at Jacksonville.
Houston, enough said.
All right, yeah, enough said. Agreed. Miami at San Diego.
Ooh. I'm going to take the Chargers.
We agree on that one then. I think Melvin Gordon is starting to
figure it out.
Yeah, he's showing that he might be one of the better backs in the NFL right now. San Francisco at Arizona. I'm just going to write you down for Arizona in this one.
This might be the other lock of the week.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Here's where we start getting into three, I think, good games. Dallas at Pittsburgh.
I'm going to take Pittsburgh for the reason you said earlier. They got kind of embarrassed last week against the Ravens, and we always know what happens when Pittsburgh gets embarrassed. They come out and they embarrass someone else.
Yeah, I'm going to pick Pittsburgh. It's not because I hate Dallas or anything. I just think when you look at this game right now, who needs the win?
That too.
It's Pittsburgh. Yeah, Pittsburgh really needs a win. Roethlisberger's a week healthier. I just believe that Pittsburgh will pull this one out. That's just I think Dallas is a good team. I hate to say it, but I think it's going to come down to the point of necessity, and I think it's a necessity right now. It's necessary for Pittsburgh to win. Here's a good one. I think this is a good game. Seattle at New England, Sunday night.
I hate to say this. New England.
You're going to pick Seattle?
New England because it's in Foxborough.
Oh, I'm taking New England. I think they're going to beat Seattle. I don't think Seattle's that great. I think Seattle has been winning games. They haven't really won them in any fashion that would make me think that they're an elite team anymore. So I'm going with New England. I think New England's the best team in the NFL from top to bottom. That's just my opinion, but we'll see. And I think this is a good game, Monday Night Football. I think we're going to have a good shootout type of game. Cincinnati at the Giants.
I'm going to take Cincinnati, and the reason they need this game, I think, more than the Giants.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Cincinnati's the better team, too. I think with A.J. Green and Cincinnati's offense, I think the Giants aren't going to stop them.
That's a good point Lance said about the Seattle game. The thing that really hurts them is they have no running game. Yeah,
Marshawn Lynch is retired, obviously, and I think when he left, the consistency that they had in the run game left with them. I agree. And New England, we know, LeGarrette Blount has had a big year so far. New England can run the ball on you. New England's just a good team. What are you going to say? You know?
I agree.
All right, here's our picks. We agree at Baltimore over Cleveland. I think the world agrees with that. Atlanta over Philadelphia, the Eagles. We both picked that one. I'm rooting that we lose that one, but, you know. Green Bay over Tennessee, we both have. I have Denver, you have New Orleans. That's one difference. We both have the Jets over the Rams. I have Chicago beating Tampa. You have Tampa. We both have Minnesota over Washington. We both have Carolina over Kansas City. We both have Houston over Jacksonville. We both have San Diego over Miami. We both have Arizona over San Fran. We both have Pittsburgh over Dallas. We both have New England over Seattle. And we both have Cincinnati over the Giants. So we only have, two different picks?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to be either, could be an even week. It could be, pretty much we're going to be on the same line almost, you know?
Yeah, all or nothing.
Yep, pretty much. Unless you win those two or I win the two we have different, we're evening up this week.
Yeah. All right, everybody, we're going to get out of here for today. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, thumbs up, share, all that good stuff. And we will see you back next week. Have a good day, everybody.